So my name is Helfrid, Schulte-Herbrüggen, and I have been coordinating an expert group, which we normally call WashNut. That's the more memorable name. The official name is Strengthening Collaboration at the WASH Food and Nutrition Wet Nexus to Build Community Resilience in Low-Income Countries. So, and it's really nice. It's been really nice to be here this morning and listen to the presenters who have been saying how important it is to really reach across the different sectors for the Agenda 2030 goals, and in order to fulfill these goals. And this is really what we've been trying to do in this expert group, is to bridge across our normal sectors. So just a bit of background, the work started in 2016, where we explored the different linkages. What are these linkages between water and sanitation into nutrition and agriculture? And well, we came up with loads of linkages, obviously, because there just are too many. But I think really the value of this was to start thinking and also to start asking questions. So there are lots of linkages, but why are we still working within our sectors? So we also did interviews, and where some of the answers were that, you know, these we can bridge our sectors, and often it's technically feasible. We have amazing examples in Sweden, in Helsingborg, where they really, you know, there's systems being built looking at how can we reuse what would normally be waste materials from our sanitation or food produce, and, you know, into nutritious plant nutrition. But there are some barriers, and the barriers were, well, silo thinking. We're sort of brought up within our disciplines, and very rightly so, because there's a lot of subject knowledge that one needs to work within our certain disciplines or within our sectors. But it might make it difficult to communicate across our sectors, and we know that just having gone from chemistry into engineering, I find it sometimes a bit difficult to communicate with those engineers. And even more so if you try to bring a social scientist together with an engineering, you know, there's some, might be difficult. But really what was asked for or demanded was, you know, can we have some examples, well-illustrated case studies that give us some examples of how to bridge sectors and how to work together. So that set the basis for our work in 2017, where we thought, well, let's try to find some case studies and ask them some questions, how they've done things, what they found challenging, and how they've overcome those challenges. So this is really what we've been doing, and we've collected case studies or contacted people from Kenya, from Tanzania, Uganda, Bolivia, and Burkina Faso. And we asked these people that we interviewed, you know, what's your motivation? So, I mean, bridging these sectors and working in a project that bridges water, sanitation, and nutrition, it's quite a challenge. So, you know, why did you even start from the beginning? And there's many reasons to bridge these sectors, and we chose to divide them into, you know, these stick factors, you know, what things that sort of push you to work with other sectors. It might be crisis, it might be that there's a water shortage, you're working in agriculture, and the people are actually, okay, there's not enough water for your your crops, but there's also people are getting ill because of the water problems. You're working in a community and you're trying to solve one issue. You're working with education, but the children are not coming to school because they don't have clean drinking water, or because they don't have food. So you are being pushed into working with water and food, just as the crisis management or complexity. But then there's also motivation, like the added benefit of bridging sectors. There are many positive aspects. There's the care for environment. There's even some prestige. We're working on a project, and we want to be innovative, and we want to make a change. So there's many aspects to engage, why people engage. Some of the challenges, of course, apart from a communication challenge, might involve you might need to spend more time with different partners. A cross-sectoral project often requires more partners from the other sectors, or that you somehow engage and learn new skills. So you have to spend more time. You might have to formalize these kind of partnerships, and which is also very important. Staff capacity came up. If you come from the wash sector and you find yourself bridging out into food security, of course there's new knowledge that you might have to incorporate into your project and to handle. Of course, you might not fit as nicely into sort of regional authority sort of structures, or you might not know who to speak to within in the government, the local or regional government, about your project when you're getting your go-aheads or your permits and things like that. So there are some challenges. But there's also aspects that facilitate, your project. So, and some important aspects that were related was, start small. Try something, experiment. If it doesn't work, try something else, and then you can scale up. Local engagement is always key aspect that came up, and some of the projects also said how they appreciated this the support from research, and especially context relevant research, with local connection. So in December so these are the sort of very overarching results from these interviews, and there's more detail to that, obviously. But we also had a workshop in December in Nairobi, which was very nice. I think the best thing about this workshop, if I can sort of report my favorite aspects, is really that we got attendance from very many different organizations, non-governmental organizations. So we were a very nice mixture. We were maybe 25 participants, and it was a nice mixture of researchers and NGOs, and also some government ministries from Kenya and Tanzania and Uganda primarily, and a couple of Swedes as well, of course. We discussed these the case study questions, but we also did some visits to Sanitation to look at the work that they are doing in the urban slums with sanitation. And we also visited Kibera and the work that the Salvation Army is doing there. And another sort of I guess take-home message or something that came up is that it was really nice to see how these different projects, they might have started off as a pure wash project, but they've realized, okay, it's not enough to just deal with wash to improve communities' health. So they've started including nutrition and agriculture, food security, and then there's other projects that they might have started off as an economic empowerment project, and they find themselves start going into wash because they realize, okay, people can't become economically empowered if they don't have clean water and sanitation. So it's a really great value to have collected in the same room people that are coming from different aspects, different perspectives, and they can really share experiences. And there were a lot of questions also to the presenters that presented their work at this workshop, and they could really discuss issues that they had or challenges and how to improve things. So and from these discussions, just some sort of preliminary messages was that these cross-sectoral projects or work, it does require more effort, more sort of resources, if it's time, more engagement, but most people, at least there, we might have been a bit selective in that the people that came are obviously interested in cross-sectoral work somehow, but they thought it was, you know, worth the effort because of the results that they gain. And especially if you have a complex challenge in your community, then it makes sense to reach out to other sectors and work across sectors. So, and yes, I was thinking about maybe I know the next presenter is going to present some video clips, and maybe they will have some good tips for us how to do these things, because this is what we're now doing. We did a lot of video clips, lots of interviews, and now we're sitting and putting it all together into some kind of coherent storyline. So watch this space. Once we have this collected, it will be on the SIANI expert group website. So we hope this will, you know, really give the voices from the people themselves. So yes, and also we'll be organizing some seminars and some workshops in March here in Stockholm. So, you know, please as well watch this space, and you know, where
this space is SIANI.se.
Yes. So the SIANI website and our little expert group website. Yes. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So, in the interest of this is a typical way the annual meeting is organized. In the morning, we have different contributors with various areas of expertise that are relevant to the theme in question. And in the afternoon, we try to present some of the interesting results from our expert groups, which are open to everyone, by the way, and they're all on our SIANI.se. But I love your name, Washnut. That's good. Easy to remember. Yeah. Okay. Was there anyone who had any questions? Okay, right here. You have to speak in the microphone so the people that are online can hear you.
Thank you for your presentation, very interesting. I was wondering if you came across the work by UNICEF. They have a program called Wet Nutrition, and it's their nutrition group and their wash group, and they have had some pilots in Ethiopia. Really interesting. If you haven't seen them, look up.
Good, thank you. Any other questions or brief comments?